Welcome to T-Smack, home of the T-Smack. May I take your order?
Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Talking Smack, where we talk superheroes, movies, animation, comics, and much, much more. I am your host, Josh Scar, and there's something a little different about my co-host. I think he may have gotten into the catnip, or the devil's litter, as I think the kitty cat people call it. Alex, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. It is a wonderful Friday evening as we record this, and I'm excited to continue the Nostalgiathon as we continue to push through and look at what was hot in 1995 that impacted our childhoods and helped shape the people we are today.
We're even skipping some big stuff. Like, we're not talking about Toy Story because there are probably 100,000 different podcasts doing Toy Story 30-year anniversaries, whatever. And it's insane to think that it's been 30 years of Toy Story, and we're getting a fifth one in just a couple of years. It's wild. And we've had two Jumanji sequels in a sense, but they're also basically just reboots. But we're here to talk Jumanji this week. This is a movie that I really remember being a lot funnier than I think it was.
Yeah. So I haven't seen this movie in a long time. We're probably talking maybe like 20 years. And I remember it like my childhood nostalgia goggles are that it's a laugh a minute. It is hysterical. Robin Williams is Robin Williams in this. Of course, I remember Kirsten Dunst in it. I remember the children having way more quips and dialogue than they do. David Alan Greer, I remember
him being so much more bombastic and like having a bigger role in the movie. But that's things we need to get into on the other side of the break. First, we're going to hear from my buddy Caesar at the New on 15 Allcast. When we come back, we will be talking Jumanji 1995.
I love your salad.
So, what's our show about? It's about some dudes talking about movies, just like this.
With Goofy screaming with them.
So you're talking that they should have replaced it like with a Tom and Jerry scream or something like that?
Tom and Jerry scream.
Or you might hear something like this.
Oh my gosh.
That whole movie waiting to see what happens with Blanca is like the most aggravating thing in that film. But for the most part, we talk movies from the 80s, 90s, and today. And if you grace us with your ear time, you might hear one of these 30-second gems like this.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did not get a chance to watch this one this week.
Give it to him anyways. We're gonna give it to Ebert anyway. You ready?
I'm gonna give you the 30-second review of Tron Uprising.
All right. Start the clock and then. So give us a shot and listen to the No on 15 Allcast wherever you listen to your podcasts.
No on 15.
We've got to have Lewis and Tim on the podcast because they did recently do a big announcement for the Street Fighter 2026 cast and confirming a lot of stuff. The only one I really remember is that Roman Reigns is going to be Akuma. And he's actually going by his given name, Joe Anawai. So I'm really intrigued with what Lewis and Tim have to say about the cast. And the other one is David Dastmalchian is playing M. Bison, which I think that's a really interesting choice, but one that could be really good.
It's going to be a difficult role for him to take over, especially since Gomez Adams did it last time and was just phenomenal in it. But I think David, there's something about him that is a very compelling person to look at. And if you watched, Interview with the Devil, I absolutely loved that movie. To me, that really showcased that he could be a compelling star. So I'm excited for it.
He has these really small bit roles. Like he's the guy that Harvey Dent captures after the Joker's attack in The Dark Knight. He's a broken dude that Harvey's trying to like break even further to get information about the Joker. He's the Baba Yaga guy in the Ant-Man movies. He's just really compelling. I think it's because he's a really good face actor. It's just really engrossing in what he can do. And like maybe he's He's delivering the lines really well. Like, he's just a really well-rounded dude who just doesn't have that pretty boy stature. So he's not really taken as seriously. Like, he's a weird looking guy, which is why he works as the Eastern European Baba Yaga guy.
Yeah, and that's not to like, disrespect or anything. He's not going to be cast as James Bond, but you're going to look at him and you're like, there's something intriguing about the way he looks and he moves. And he's been around for just a long time. Like, as you said, his first role was The Dark Knight. And then he's floated around just doing these roles. And once you're like, you notice him, you're like, oh, right. He was in Oppenheimer. He was in Dune. He was in Dune. He was in Ant-Man and the Wasp as brief part as John Deacon, one of the members of Queen. Oh,
he's got good henchman energy, but also he has charisma that he can be a bigger part of a movie. And it's just, I think that's a really intriguing idea for someone to play Bison with, M. Bison.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see, because if he's being in Bison, maybe that starts opening up some more like heavy roles, as in like the bad guy, like Christopher Waltz got for like a few years. He was cast as every bad guy after Inglourious Bastards. Not to say that he needs to be the bad guy, but like that allows him to be featured more as a starring role if he is like the go-to bad guy for a while.
And I love that Tarantino, speaking of Christoph Waltz, he overcorrected as well, where he's like, oh, I created a villain for Hollywood. Let's showcase that this guy can actually be a good guy too. And then in Django Unchained, he's amazing in that as well as the good guy, or at least like the mentor in the hero's journey of that story. Alex.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Last week, we talked about Sense and Sensibility.
Beautiful movie.
Starring Kate Winslet from Titanic.
And bless you all for listening, because that did very well for us.
It sure did. You guys don't like James Bond, but you love Jane Austen.
That's right. We gotta speak to our literary audience, even though James Bond is Ian Fleming, which is literary.
There's something lost in translation there. Maybe we didn't know. We did I have to tell you, my brain is going 1,000 miles a minute. So it's really funny that we ended with the British invasion last week. We live on the Illinois-Wisconsin border. We go north to Wisconsin all the time. Today I was in Wisconsin, and every now and then with our region, we'll run into like this weird northern southern person, right? Where just for no reason whatsoever, they got that southern drawl, and they never been left the Wisconsin, but they talk like they are from Texas. Or they're from the South, and they're bless your heart. I ran into a guy today that sounded like Bobby Boucher's water boy guy that was Sean's dad in Boy Meets World. But he had that like northern Wisconsin southern thing happening. He's like, hey there, man, what the fucking dig there, what that guy? Okay. Yeah, sure thing. What are they doing there? Go Pack, go! Let's go! Packers 2-0. All right, yeah.
Yeah, I believe in it.
No fucking clue what this guy is saying, and like I understand Wisconsin pretty well. Never have I encountered like a Cajun Wisconsinite, and like that's the best way I can describe him.
I love it.
So anyway, I was trying to make a point. Last week we were talking Sense and Sensibility. Kate Winslet was in there. She went on to be Titanic. This week, didn't schedule this. Realized as I was watching the movie that Alan's dad looks very familiar. So I look up his IMDb, and yes, he plays dual roles in this film, which is something that I learned like 10 years ago. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of like the Hook or Captain Hook thing from Peter Pan, where Captain Hook is voiced by the dad. It's a parallel for, childhood generational trauma. In this case, the dad was played by Mr. Ismay from Titanic. So unintentionally, we have back-to-back Titanic tie-ins. But that's the only trivia I have to start this off. I just thought that was really fun because, among other things, he is very much a British man trying to not sound British, and he's failing spectacularly. He's like, well, I'm a successful businessman in Massachusetts, so I'd be a little more posh anyway. So if that accent comes out a little bit, that's fine. It's a little weird. It's in the inconsistency is distracting, but bless you for trying. And you get to be a really funny hunter and you get to show off your comedy chops.
Yeah, that would be Jonathan Hyde, who is also an Anaconda, The Mummy.
Oh yeah, he's the don't read from the book dude.
Exactly, which has the weirdest scene with him covered like locusts at one point where he's just like, what have we done? I'm like, this is a weird choice at this moment to show you like the only person who's just there, like swarmed with crap. Like I had the same experience as you did, that I did not realize for a damn long time that the hunter, the big game hunter Van Pelt, was also Sam Parrish, which was his dad. That like completely as a kid just went over my head. That parallel, as you said, the whole Peter Pan kind of complex of what is it? The dad is also the bad. Wait, is it Peter Pan?
I know in Disney's Peter Pan, the dad is also the voice of the dad is also the voice of Captain Hook.
Where it's like, this Wizard of Oz, where the figures of your house are also the figures of like your kind of nightmares kind of thing. So I did not realize that for a darn long time.
No, I mean, we're kids. You're probably 12, 13 when you see this. I'm 10, if even. Like I'm probably just close to 10 if this came out before the summer of before the summer of 1995. We're kids. We're not really looking for that sort of actor consistency. They put a wig on him, they throw some makeup on him, he's a completely different person.
Oh yeah, but when I remember seeing this film, it was another Robin Williams movie for me. He was the Mork and Mindy, 90 Nano. He was in the Aladdin as the genie. He had not,
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire. He was not the turn he suddenly, in my opinion, as my journey with him was like, he didn't suddenly become serious until Good Will Hunting. I remember this being just hysterical, and he came into this movie like really quickly. But no, it's like really deep into the first act, like 32 minutes or so before he actually appears again. Bless Joe Johnston for the director, who also did like The Rocketeer and other Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. As an adult not watching this, he is a kind of a mean fuck.
He likes putting kids in peril. I mean, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, that's another movie that puts kids in a lot of peril and really traumatizing scenarios.
While he doesn't show it, the young Alan Parrish is being bullied, runs away to go to his father to be protected at the shoe factory, because apparently he's the rich kid who's always getting the hell beat out of him. Kind of takes the coward's
Those
way out.
Poor rich kids.
Yeah. Kind of takes the coward's way out of like not protected. Was it David Alan Greer's character, who has the most 80s Nike like shoe ever in the 60s.
He's changing the game, baby, in 1969.
He knows Jordan's been born and is going to wear the hell out of those shoes.
Exactly.
But yeah, it like pans away as he steps outside of his factory. There's no security guards or anything, and he's just going to get the hell beat out of him. Goes home limping, bleeding, cut mouth, bruises, and his dad's just like, I'm glad you stood up to those bullies and took your ass beating today.
Well, he tries to justify it because he's like, well, I didn't realize there were 9 of them. I thought it was just the one kid. And like, you didn't look out the window and see them destroying your son's bike that you paid money for?
But he's like, but good on you, son. I'm sending you to a school named after our family.
Where you will most decidedly be bullied further.
Yeah, I was just like, I was like, wow, man, this movie's like meaner than I remember it being. But there is some levity because Kirsten Dunst as a teenager is so good playing off of Bebe Neuwirth, who is what is her name, from Lilith from Frasier and Cheers. They're so good playing off of each other with this like dry humor about parental death.
The coping is very different there with their parents dying and how she's just making up all these weird stories about how they were spies or trying to create peace in the Middle East, and Peter just choosing to be mute through his trauma. There's a lot of stuff I did not catch on to when I was the last time I watched this movie, which like, I'm pretty sure the last time I watched this movie in its entirety, it had to have been like 2010, 2012, somewhere in there, when I was like pre-Ricky, had a lot of free time to myself. And I was just like, let's watch this, let's watch that. and I was probably half watching it because I was also like getting addicted to my phone, which I had just bought my new iPhone around that time. So there's just a lot of nuance that I was not looking for, or that I just like brushed aside because it's like, it's a Robin Williams movie. It's a family friendly movie. It's a family adventure film. It's just a fun romp, like whatever. But when you're like sitting down and watching this, I think Jurassic World Rebirth kind of is less scary than this movie. And the last act of that movie is a lot of kids in peril. But I think I would have my kids watch Rebirth before I'd have them watch Jumanji while they're still at this age that they're in, just because of like the peril and the like magic of the movie that it is putting into the world that they're in.
I completely forgot that that it started with a prologue of these two young kids like 100 years before were burying this game because they had barely survived it, and it's like very gothic of, you know, it's like raining and they're out in the middle of the woods burying this thing of like, you know, like, no, Jebediah, we got to get rid of this thing. And then Alan Parrish, he only finds it because he hears the drumming after he gets beat up, which I kind of wonder, does the game really only sound for children who have experienced like death and bullying? Because
some kind of emotional trauma, which like, why wasn't everyone in that colonial village hearing it? Because like they're all experiencing death and trauma like every day. Yeah. So the fact that and that opening prologue too, where the two kids are like, well, what if someone finds it? God have mercy on their soul. Come on, Joe. So even dramatic. In 1995, that is so cliche.
And yeah, the horrors of the game start off a little tame because what is it? Sarah Whittle, who is this like next door neighbor ish.
She's the girl next door ish. Yeah.
Takes pity on him, brings back his bicycle that was stolen from him, and inadvertently rolls the first die. And then which by the way, this game, I understand this game is random. You know, it's just based off the die roll, but she gets bats that kind of take off immediately. He gets punished to be sucked into the game to stay there for 30 freaking years.
That's a question I have about the game. Does Sarah just get to keep rolling until either the end of the game or she rolls a 5 or an 8? Or is the game stuck until he gets to roll again? Like, that's a really big flaw in the rules of that game that that I thought of when I was watching it. And I'm sure I'm not the first person to think about it, but does Sarah just get unlimited rolls until she wins and then Alan comes back? Or does she have to she gets one more turn, and if it's not a 5 or an 8, she's stuck in with whatever happens after that too. And then they have to get more people to play somewhere down the line. There's a weird mix up in the rules when he gets sucked in.
It's a bit odd, but he gets sucked into the board game, which is kind of cheesy CGI for the time, but at the same time, really kind of horrifying because they linger on that about just like how he's being like Stretch Armstrong and just kind of brutally bent and moved, which I think worked. It isn't until later on that the mixture between like live action animatronics and CGI starts to get really dodgy in some areas.
1995 was the year of let's just go for it with CGI. Like, we know it's not quite ready. Things look horrifying, but we're going to go for it.
So the story is that after he's a child, he gets sucked into it. 30 years later, after the death of their parents, apparently while traveling in Canada, at least according to Aunt Nora, the parents have died, and she decides that the best course of action is to move the kids to a new town, to a dilapidated mansion that's been abandoned for 20 years.
And I think that realtor needs to have her license revoked because she needs to convey that there is a suspected murder to have happened in that house. I think that is obliged information.
A little bit. And say you find out that like her coping mechanism is that Kirsten Dunst's Judy is that she is basically, we're just going to kind of like roll with this and I'm just going to make up weird shit to get sympathy. Peter's basically mute and he's the one the game kind of calls to first. they eventually find the board game up in the attic. Sarah Whittle apparently just took the hell off and never returned. And they have to start playing the game. And luckily, what is it? This Peter's roll. He rolls what, a 8, 5?
No, they actually let it play a couple of times. I think
that's right,
Judy rolls first. She gets the mosquitoes. And then I think Peter rolls the 8. Oh, no, they get the lion. Yeah. Peter rolls doubles. He gets the lion. And then he rolls again. And then
the lion. Yeah.
And then Alan comes back.
Yep.
I think.
And that line that appears, because the line does appear with to bring Alan back. That actually line I find fascinating. The stylistic choice they did. That animatronic is not very good. It very much is like stage costume line. Doesn't have a whole lot of emote other than big mouth. But I appreciate that when they move to the CGI for it, they can make the CGI match just how kind of weirdly non-lifelike that the lion is. So they kind of sell it that it's like this not really there, but it is there kind of thing. Because at first I was like,
and it's not like a real world lion. Yeah. Like it's an exaggerated, fantastical lion because it's huge too.
Oh, it's massive. Yeah. So I appreciate that. But that is not until about 30-ish minutes in that we finally get Robin Williams. And really, other than that first little bit where he kind of shows up, fights the lion, and wants nothing to do with the kids on the board, do we really get kind of like quote unquote stereotypical Robin Williams where he's kind of manic and over the top? After that settles in, he becomes almost cruel because he doesn't want to play the game and he is very dismissive of the kids and of the dangers that are coming. Like, it's a very unusual role. Like, as a kid, I was like, oh, it's Robin Williams. I laugh. But the way he tricks Sarah Whittle into playing, and then the storyline that begins to happen happens really sets him up as like almost an anti-hero kind of situation where he's really dealing with the trauma of, I've been gone 30 years. My parents are dead. The factory's gone. This house is weird. Van Pelt's after me. I'm on the run.
He gets the full Captain America treatment, Man Out of Time stuff, where just he wakes up in a world that he doesn't know, and everyone he cared about is gone. Yeah, and it's a rough character. I mean, bless Robin Williams for tackling it the way he did. It's a really interesting character study that he's playing essentially a 13-year-old, a 12 or 13-year-old.
Yeah.
And he has to still act like he's gone through 26 years in this fantastical jungle waiting for someone to roll a 5 or an 8. It's harrowing.
And there's a lot of, as you said, Peter Pan in this, the whole kind of like Wendy's father is not only like that, but she's also Hook. But there's also a little Back to the Future where this town is dystopian because like Alan disappeared. So you like remove like one person from the timeline, and then you get this dystopian where the town is now run down. It's economically depressed. Everything is just garbage. He's running through. They have an adult
video store, which I didn't I didn't pause the movie, but I tried to look and see, like, did they just make up fake movies? What did they do here? Because he looks in a window and you just see adult XXX videos or something like that. And I looked in the window really quickly before the cut. And do you know what movie they were advertising front and center?
No.
Look Who's Talking.
That is great.
I see the bald-headed baby just looking over the thing.
That is hysterical.
I'm like, that's Look Who's Talking. Why is that in a XXX video store? I mean, I guess they do start with the sperm fertilizing the egg in both movies.
Yeah.
That is about as XXX as you can get without being Vin Diesel.
One of the things that hit me a little bit more than usual was, so they go to part of his, like, they've trapped Alan's trapped the lion, and he, like, looking for his parents, screaming dad, sees, even though the place is dilapidated, the shoe factory, he sees a shadow, a silhouette of a figure up in the thing, thinks it's his dad, who's apparently living in the factory now, but it's his unhoused person who is there, who gives him his clothes, and it's like, oh yeah, I see the parishes quite a bit. They're off on whatever, like, Main Street, and it's a freaking cemetery, because apparently he wanders past the cemetery and there his parents are, who have, like, did you see the dates on that?
They had died like 2 years prior to when he came back.
Yeah,
I
like
think.
2 years prior and like 3 months apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the whole like broken heart falling. I'm like processing this and I'm just thinking over and over to myself, like, I thought this movie was funny. Which I didn't realize. Bless David Alan Greer.
I think I carried a lot of what I remember of him over from In the Army Now.
Yes.
Because I mean, they're very similar characters, but In the Army Now, there's much more of him and he's doing a lot more funny stuff. Where in this one, he's more of the Sinbad and Good Burger, where he's just a guy and bad shit is happening to him for no reason.
Right. It's something that didn't hit me as a kid, but hit me as an adult is that, so in 1969, he is like apparently running he's like the guy on the conveyor, making sure the shoes are all looking good while also doing some side design work. It's been 30 years. He's now a cop, but he hasn't aged a damn day.
He grew a mustache and got rid of the afro. And other than that, he still looks fantastic.
Yeah. And I think he was in his like early 40s for this role. So I'm like, so is he supposed to be like in his mid 50s, 60s? Or they're just going to brush past it? Like, he's a cop now. He recovered fine. But he is having the worst day of his life. And I also had missed it that like his cop car, the trauma that happens to it continuously through that movie is great. The continuity of like carrying forward every single bad thing that happens to it is so good. Like, I think I projected the humor onto it's Robin Williams as a kid. And it's funny when he does something that's humorous, it imprints on me longer. But David Alan Greer really carries the humor of the film of just, this is a horrible day for him.
Yeah, his B plot is a lot of the humor that comes out of this because like Robin Williams, they still have some funny moments, like when he rips Peter's pants because Peter needs to let his tail out after he's been cursed to be a monkey.
Yeah.
Like that's cute, but it's not really funny. But he is much more the sentimental father figure that learns to soften himself.
Yes.
Through the events of the story. He's not really the comedic backbone of the film.
Not at all.
He's more the journey that his father would go on after he comes back to 1969. Like he's representative of that journey, but through the lens of this magical dystopian future that they created by not finishing the game in 1969.
One of the things that I also was kind of like taken back a little bit more is that they start playing the game and they get stuck. The dice don't do anything. So they have to go find adult Sarah Whittle, who is played by Bonnie Hunt. And I did not realize as an adult, I mean, as a child, like how much of her arc is built upon the fact that she's been in therapy her entire life. Like it has sent her into this career, this like journey where she is not going by her name anymore. She said she had like over 2,000 hours of therapy to get to this point. At one point she's calling her therapist. And because everyone's telling her that didn't happen, you were not in the house, he did not get sucked into her board game, and whatever like kind of charming life, because like she was the next girl, she was a girl next door, she was liked, she apparently was able to like strike peace with the bullies to give his bike back, you know, she's this kind of like lovely person. She's now a broken woman as well who hasn't really left her house in 30 years and is still living in it. Like, so apparently she inherited it from her parents and she doesn't want to be there. And like I said, there was some casual cruelty because she doesn't want to play the game, and he tricks her into handing over the dice, yanks his hand away, so she ends up rolling, and he just goes, oops. And all the bad stuff is continuing to happen. But her journey as well, she has more of an arc than I remember, which is that she is like taking care of the kids. The maternal instinct apparently kicks right in, and that she has to kind of protect them because Alan is not really emotionally capable of it until later in the story where he begins to bond with Peter. Yeah, this movie is just so much darker than I remember, and violent is not violent necessarily as in like gory, but Alan's straight up being hunted, but it's all not subverted. It's all undercut by not the humor of the adults, the humor of what's happening. You see the monkeys are like have broken out of the house and are just doing crap all throughout the city, including stealing cars. The stampede that continues to travel through town. it's almost like the adults, not the adults, the stars of the movie are superfluous to moving the journey along. What really is the driving fact is the board itself. Like the board game, the reveal of the clue of what's about to happen to them is the driving force. It's just they are just stuck in the chaos of it.
The escalation of everything is really strange too, since you bring up the board, because we get the first few things. You have the mosquitoes, which apparently have like a poisonous bite. It's not simply just, oh, you get the itchies. It's like, oh, you pass out and faint. It really feels like the game is cheating, almost like the Predator monster, where it doesn't want you to finish the game because all these things it throws at you. You have mosquitoes that are going to paralyze you. You have a lion that's going to eat you. You have a hunter that's going to kill you with his gun. And then you have a stampede that's going to trample you. You have a monsoon that's going to drown you. What is the point of this game if it's not to finish it, if not to just like infringe upon our, is it Mortal Kombat? Is Jumanji just a different version of Mortal Kombat where it's a different dimension trying to come into ours? What is this?
Yeah.
I get that it's all just the story. Like it's an emotional journey. Peter learns to confront his bullies and confront his fears and stand up to his dad and just tell his dad how he's feeling through this journey. It's allegories. It's all this stuff, but like the world building of this as well needs to kind of make sense. And that's kind of where this most recent rewatch lost me a little bit, is that all of this just feels like the board is being cruel to whoever chooses to play it, even though it is calling to them. And it is almost like we said earlier, or I said earlier, this is almost like a Jurassic Park style movie where it's a horror movie for kids. It's not really a family action comedy. It's almost more like a family thriller.
No, I agree with that, because in terms of the board cheating, I was thinking towards the end, I was thinking as soon as you roll your dice, someone else just pick and roll, and you roll as quickly as possible, because there's only like 15 spaces you have to go or something like that. The board's actually kind of small. Because I think on Peter's second or third roll, he tries to cheat. He's like, I just need to roll 12 and I win. And so it's a small board. But it seems that there's some kind of mechanic that you actually can't roll until you've been punished. So whatever the clue comes up, and because someone rolls, they lean forward, the clue slowly reveals itself, which is a great effect. I love that. I remember one of my friends owned the board game as a kid. Of course, the board game can't make things actually magically appear. Damn. But it was kind of fun the way that what happened is that you took a card from the deck and you slid it under like the green part in the center, and it revealed itself. It's really cool. It's a little cool effect.
Yeah.
But it seems like they can't do anything until the clue is revealed. And then they have to like survive the first minute, and then they can roll, because the game actually tries to inhibit them from playing it a few times by the earthquake that cracks run underneath the board. But also, the giant Jurassic pelican that steals it and takes off with it at one point and throws it kicks it into the river, which is a great joke. But then you also have the hunter who's literally appears to kill the person that rolled that, and then is self-aware enough to go to a gun shop and buy like military grade weaponry to keep the hunt going.
He got what he deserved. He sold an unregistered weapon to someone with no ID and no background check. All that gold that just got dumped on him for that sale vanished. Yep. And so is that gun's gone too. Yeah. So I was thinking like, oh, that poor little shop owner, but no, fuck that guy.
Yeah. And one of the things is, because we mentioned that like the game seemed to punish, is I was paying attention to like the radio reports, because Aunt Nora is like listening to the radio, but also Carl Bentley, David Alan Greer's character, also checks in with the radio occasionally, and something like 80 people have mysteriously been knocked out. So those mosquitoes are at work.
They are affecting the town pretty drastically. It
even says like local services are like under immense strain, and so they really lucked out that in 1969 on the second roll the kid was sucked into there, and all they had to experience briefly was like African bats. briefly that I've like now moved into town. All that being said about how like mean it is, like there is something so satisfying about the end where the house is beautiful at the end. It's been overrun by vines and trees. The giant spiders have arrived, which still don't look great. They look like little vibrating dolls. You do get that beautiful fourth wall breaking moment of Peter running to the shed.
I love that. That's the best gag in the entire movie.
To fight the spiders, Alan tells Peter, who's now a monkey because he tried to cheat, go to the shed. That's where my father keeps his axe. He runs down there. The shed's locked. He picks up an axe. It's all rusted. He swings at it like once and then realizes he has an axe, looks at the camera, runs back inside to where Aunt Nora has finally arrived, panics because she sees what happened to the house, that there's a lion, locks her into it, and then does nothing with that axe. Is absolutely
swings
useless.
it a couple times at the giant spiders, but other than that, yeah. I do think
so
that's
good.
the spiders, they do a really good job of trying to like amp up the comedy to offset the spider stuff, because I think Arachnophobia had come out around that time as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they were trying to downplay the like fear of spiders stuff, because you have like Robin Williams who's stuck in the floor after his quicksand bit, and he's just sitting there like blowing at it and trying to get it to go away because he can't do anything else. And then you've got Peter.
One of the most Robin Williams moments of that movie is we finally get a little more Robin Williams again in that moment. Yeah.
Like I think that's a moment where they really play up the comedy to kind of minimize the terror of the moment. But the movie does a lot of really big action stuff, and like the monsoon sequence, that part is really great. One of the things I really appreciate about the movie is that just because Alan has been in the game in Jumanji for 26 years, he doesn't know what the next thing coming is, except for the monsoon. Like he understands the monsoon riddle pretty well because he gets himself covered. But like when everything else happens, the only other thing I think that he is aware of when a riddle pops up or a rhyme pops up is Van Pelt. And it's because they pretty clearly established that he's bumped into Van Pelt in his years in the game. And I think for the most part, they do a really good job of restraining Alan's knowledge of what the game is trying to do to them.
Yeah, you're right. That's really good.
Did you ever have the actual board game that they released after the movie came out?
I didn't have it. A friend brought it over. And I got the thing I most remember about that is the card sliding under the like gem in the center to make it give that green effect. That's the most I remember about it.
I remember really wanting the game and hoping that the box was a box inside of a box so that it looked like the movie version of the game. And it wasn't just it's just the regular bifold.
Yeah.
But I have seen that they have released like a deluxe anniversary edition of the board game that actually is like plastic and it rolls like flips out like the game in the movie. And even though it's like it's not a great game. It's just a quick little board game that you can teach kids how to play board games with. I want it. I want that. The kid in me really, really wants that because that's what I really wanted that game to be when my dad bought it for me back in 1995.
I want that now. Oh my gosh. There is. It's like a 2015 version. And it says on the front of it in a real wooden box. I want that so bad now.
I've seen it at retailers and every time I see it, I'm just like, I don't have the spare money for it, but man, do I want this. That'd
be so great. Oh, that's great. I think what this movie does well, that I believe that I'm not really counting Xanthura because I've actually never seen Xanthura. Apparently, it's a spiritual sequel.
Xanthura is really surprisingly good. I remember I've only seen it once, but I remember watching it and just being surprised that it was not awful. I realized that it was later on that it was written by the person who wrote Jumanji and that it was a spiritual sequel. But I had not realized when I was watching it. I thought it was like the reason I didn't go see it is because I was like, they're just ripping off Jumanji. What the hell is this? But it is genuinely like a good family adventure film.
It's one of the few Jon Favreau movies that I haven't seen. Jon Favreau, of course, is the father of the MCU, is Happy Hogan, and of course is the Lord and Savior of the Star Wars franchise with The Mandalorian.
But they refuse to acknowledge his Lord and Saviorness of it.
So one thing I think this movie does much better than the sequels of The Next Level and Welcome to the Jungle is that because this movie is not set in a video game, which, by the way, I think that's great. I think that they are accurate to try to say that the game is going to manifest itself in whatever is most appealing to kids. So yes, board games.
I do think
60s.
Welcome to the Jungle and whatever the sequel is again, The Next Level, I do think it appearing as like an Atari level video game system, while quaint, because we know that it's like a retro board game, like it's wooden, it's old timey. So it would appear as an Atari generation and not like a PS3 version or something like that. No kid is going to see that and be like, I'm going to plug that into my TV. They wouldn't even know how to do it.
No,
it's not an HDMI.
Yeah. But I do think that they were smart to do it like that. However, when they're losing lives in that video game, I don't buy it. Versus this movie where he's getting shot at by Van Pelt, where there's spiders, where Kirsten Dunst at the end gets shot in the neck and like passes out or whatever. I actually think the game is actively trying to kill them. The last two, and I think they're supposed to release a third next year, in 2020, late 2026.
How could they do that? The Rock is skinny now.
Oh, jeez, he is so. Which is
he
really
has
funny.
old man face all of a sudden. Like he just lost all of that. It's kind of creepy.
Which is really funny because if I ran into The Rock, who I think is like 6'2" in real life, and I think he says he's still like around 230 or something like that, he is a hulk of a man still. He is a tall, strapping, muscular man. He definitely puts me to shame. But because he was so large for like the last like 12 years,
he's fucking huge.
So small. And you're right. Because of that sudden weight loss, like he's got age on his face, something that has come out of nowhere.
Like I'm guessing that's probably why he wasn't on WWE TV for so long, because he's supposed to be filming the last Fast and Furious movie, and he's going to look like this, or did he already finish his stuff? Like,
they haven't even started filming it yet.
Or maybe they're doing a time jump, and that's part of what he's doing. I don't even know. Is he going to put that? Is he going to put that muscle back on? That can't be healthy at his age. It wasn't even healthy when Christian Bale did it for the Machinist going into Batman Begins.
No, that was a huge stress.
He got down to like 98 pounds or something like that, and then he bulked up to 230 within like 7 months of each other.
Yeah, and Christopher Nolan like said he got too big because apparently they had to refit
the bat suit.
Yeah, which those suits are. I watched a special on it once. Those suits are custom made. You basically put on a pair of tidy whities and you jump and you get scanned, or you like get mold casted, and you can't gain weight or lose weight. You have to stay that size because they are some kind of silicone rubber mold. Which, by the way, I saw it once, or maybe it was an interview. I think I saw it once. I think it was an interview and they showed scenes of it. But those suits for Christian Bale, like, they would follow him around with like a Windex, and anytime he sat down or anyone touched his costume, they would clean it because it needed a certain shine. They couldn't be had, and because it's so shimmery, fingerprints showed up very easily on it.
Well, that first one especially, because that one was the classic Batsuit style, where it was just one big piece and like the really thick cowl. And that was part of the big change in going into The Dark Knight, where they like gave him head movement. He could turn his head left and right without having to move his shoulders. Mm-hmm. And the other thing was one of the famous things that he told Ben Affleck when Affleck was cast as Batman for the Snyder stuff. Ben Affleck asked him for advice, and he said, what would you tell me to do? And Christian Bale said, make sure they find a way to be able to go to the bathroom in the suit. Because I think for Batman Begins, it was like a 2-hour process to get him out of the suit before he could even go to the bathroom. So he had to be like, I have to go to the bathroom. And then it's a 2-hour process to get out of there. Like, hopefully he didn't have to go that badly. Obviously he didn't have to go that badly, but like, I'm sure there were a couple times where he's like, I'm going to piss myself. Hurry up.
There's they were talking about like one of the like I think it was Avengers, Infinity War, or maybe it was Endgame, where they were talking about the suits that they all wore. And Vision, his suit is multi-parts, and he wears like a 20-pound. It's like a 20-pound water recirculation system on it because they can't take him out of it, and they need to keep him cool because he can't breathe. So they have this like wires hooked up to him, and I think what's his name, Chris. I think
Henry Cavill had something similar with his Superman suit.
Yeah, and Chris Hemsworth is like, I love the suits, but the cape is a real cape, and it by itself weighs like 20 pounds. He's like, it is exhausting dragging this thing around. My entire suit is upwards of like 70 pounds when I'm wearing all of it. He's like, geez, yeah. Which reminds me, it was the first or second Spider-Man movie where Spider-Man's in an elevator briefly, and Tobey Maguire actually gets to complain about the suit.
Yeah, rides in the crotch a bit.
Yeah. Back to Jumanji, like, I feel like this movie, the first one, I feel more sympathy, not sympathy. I feel more fear for them because it's supposedly the real world. I don't really care. I mean, because it's a video game.
I mean, they established that the effects of the game will end once someone wins. But again, the game is cheating and trying to actively kill everyone. Mm-hmm. So if it succeeds, nothing gets reset. So like,
right.
How many people have played this game and not won? And like, we're just dealing with, in that world, at least, they're dealing with the ramifications of whatever that game has just left in the world.
I do like, with the whole Van Pelt being his dad, that the resolution for him winning which, by the way, I know this is totally, what is a Mandela effect or whatever, but I swear as a kid, when Alan wins the game, he said Jumanji like loudly, like victoriously. But as I'm watching, I'm like, no, I don't think that happens. He just says it very quietly with a smile. And I like that the resolution is Van Pelt gets to him, is going to kill him. And instead of running, he's just like, no, I have to stand up to you. I have to stand up for myself. And of course, he rolls the die. He says Jumanji. Everything gets sucked back into the board. And he carries with him that trauma and that victory to straight up tell his dad, like, hey, Carl didn't screw up the machine and shouldn't be fired. I did that. That was me. You know, I like that there was that resolution and that moment which changes him, but also changes that he's allowed to go back to the past and make things right. But yeah, do you remember that? Like, I swear he screams Jumanji.
I could have sworn Jumanji. He does it. He does it twice. He does it like 3 times. He says Jumanji really quietly. Yeah. And then Van Pelt is like, what? And he says Jumanji. And then the third time, I think he yells it a little louder.
Yeah. I don't remember those softness. I just remember him like saying it like triumphantly, kind of like Jumanji, you know, but the ending is weird, right?
I didn't clock it the last time I watched it, but this most recent rewatch, I did notice that they inserted lines of dialogue saying that like, it feels like they're forgetting how to be adults or what it's like to be an adult pretty quickly. And then they jump forward in time and they've remembered everything to the point where they're manipulating. They're playing the Final Destination game where they're trying to make sure that Peter and Judy's parents don't die in that Canadian car accident or whatever happens.
Isn't that weird? Like that ending I find so, like, as a kid, it kind of made sense. It was like, oh yay, they're friends somehow. But now as an adult, I'm like, they actually don't know these people at all. They've manipulated to like, okay, we have to wait till the kids are like this age, but it has to be before the parents die. And we have to offer them a job and get them here and lure them.
And make sure they skip their vacation.
And tell them not to go on vacation in Canada. But like Judy and Peter definitely remember who they are.
I didn't know. I didn't get any of that.
See, I thought the way they were looking at them was like, they're like, I know, I felt like the way because they don't really talk in that moment because they're talking to their parents, but I feel like the facial expressions that Kirsten Dunst is like
Kristen Stewart's in Zathura.
Right? That's weird. But like Kirsten Dunst is like, yeah, don't let them go.
I see. I didn't catch that at all. I thought it was more just they're like, these people are weird. Why are they acting like they know us?
Oh,
And then they got presents and they're like, oh, cool, they like us.
yeah, that's also very weird. It's like, oh yeah, thanks for coming. I know we're like, you haven't accepted the job offer, but we're bribing your kids.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing even now that I'm still just kind of like, why did they wait until just before the accident is supposed to happen to try and hire them? Wouldn't you try to get them on board as soon as possible? Like the minute you are aware of them, be like, you're coming to work for me. Please come work for me. And I will make sure that you don't ever go to Canada in your life. Robin Williams and
Bonnie Hunt.
Bonnie Hunt. Thank you. I was going to call her Bet. I knew that wasn't right. Bonnie Hunt. They really don't want them getting that poutine.
Well, as you know, poutine makes you crash. It's a
carb. It's a carb overload.
Yeah, it's such a weird kind of like dark movie that really, really works. I still enjoyed it. I just was not. I was just not remembering. There's a little bit of meanness to it. Like I haven't seen The Rocketeer in maybe 15 years. I kind of want to go back and watch The Rocketeer.
The Rocketeer holds up. It's still just wonderful. I watch that at least once a year.
Is there like that streak of meanness through it? Like the little bit of like
no,
just needling?
It's more like I remember Dick Tracy, where it's got a little bit of that comic book quality. I'm forgetting Alan Arkin's name.
Alan Arkin.
Petey? I mean, his character's name. I think is it Petey?
I haven't seen it so long, man.
Peavy. It's Peavy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Peavy is a little more snarky than I almost always remember. But for the most part, it is a lot of what you remember. It's Timothy Dalton being charmingly evil. You've got not Sarah, that's her character's name, and Jennifer Connelly. Labyrinth is what I was thinking of. Jennifer Connelly being just like the most gorgeous she's ever been in a movie. Yeah. Just playing up to all of that. And then there's Cliff Secord. I'm forgetting his name. He's just not Brendan Fraser in The Mummy, but he's pretty close. And then you've got the giant man who with the weird makeup. I assume it's prosthetics. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's his face. Where's the rocket?
So good.
I love it. But no, it's a fun comic book romp. And I really I think that's Joe Johnston's masterpiece. I love Captain America, the First Avenger. It's a really good entry into the early days MCU, but The Rocketeer is just, it's that pulp family friendly comic book movie that I think a lot of people really remember like Batman 89 to be, which it's not. It's a lot darker. I think The Rocketeer really hits that pulp, family-friendly action-adventure dynamic really well, and it's a really tight story. A little bit of Indiana Jones in it, and then it pops in with a little bit of Americana at the end, which like in 1990s was like the time for that. It's just great. And I think Jumanji, it doesn't really feel like a Joe Johnston movie in that sense but Joe Johnston has done a lot of different stuff. He has a very varied filmography under his directorial credits and to varying degrees of success as well. I think when he's in that pulpy action adventure family stuff, that's his wheelhouse. Like he cut his teeth under Steven Spielberg. Like he understands a lot of that stuff with Indiana Jones, Jaws, E.T., all these things that he helped with under Spielberg. He understands that family friendly dynamic and putting kids in peril, but making sure that it's in a fun way. He gets all that stuff really well. This movie, I don't know if it's the movie or the script, but there is a big shadow of darkness over this film where the fun of the adventure is really missing because it really just feels more like they're just throwing them in peril. Maybe it is kind of like what they were trying to go for with Jurassic Park, where they were thinking, let's do Jurassic Park, but with a board game. Board games are kind of on the way out. Let's see what we can't make happen here. But overall, I really still enjoy this movie. I did not remember it being this dark and dour.
No, I agree with you. Like Joe Johnston's filmography is interesting because he is like a Spielberg and Lucas protege working on Willow, and he did some Star Wars stuff and all that. This is an odd credit. He's credited as the main designer of the Iron Giant for the Iron Giant with the Brad Bird cartoon, which I can kind of see that, like, he, because of his visual effects work, where he know how to like take something like that and make it humanizing. But I agree that The Rocketeer is probably his best work. He did Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, probably got a bit of a blank check from Disney to do what he wanted to do, did The Rocketeer, and then he floated around Jumanji, October Sky, Jurassic Park 3, Hidalgo.
Which October Sky is also like one of those random dramas that I'm like, oh yeah, I love that movie. And I forget that it's a Joe Johnston movie. I think that one is largely carried by the performances, which I think he gets great performances out of Jake Gyllenhaal, Laura Dern, Chris Cooper. Joe Johnston, I think when he's really invested in something, he makes it work.
Yeah, like Hidalgo was Viggo Mortensen's kind of like blank check movie, where he's like, hey, listen, you did 3 movies. You're now a star. What do you want to do? And they're like, Hidalgo, $100 million horse movie. And I actually
he just really wanted to ride more horses.
I actually really, really like the movie. It's a good movie. It didn't fare well at the box office. And then he had some epic struggles. Took him a while, but he had epic struggles on the Wolfman, immediately pivoted to Captain America, and he's mostly retired now. He's in his 70s. He is very varied. And I will say that having seen the 2, sequel movies, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, and The Next Level, I like them. I will probably see the third one when it comes out if the trailers look good. I think the first one is kind of like a remake of this of it in a way. I think there's more kish to it, which is like, see adults act like teenagers kind of thing, But this movie makes me, the 1995 Jumanji makes me appreciate that movie way more, and actually diminishes my like of the others, because there is a bit of darkness, there is that bit of threat, there is that there's a real emotional stake with mostly one person, Alan Parrish, but yes, a little bit of Bonnie Hunt's Judith. That there is emotional investment here of what could go wrong, versus the other ones, which is we have 4 characters to juggle, and you're like seeing adults pretend to be children, and they're like not really a threat, but there is a threat because it's a video game. There is that removal of it's not affecting the real world. It diminishes my like of those. I hope that the next movie, because I don't imagine they're going to do more than 3, especially since it's taking about 6 years to get the second one off the ground. I hope that they bring some of that threat.
A big problem they're going to have with that third one is The Rock going to bulk up again, or are they progressing to the point where he's going to have to change the way he works, and they're going to acknowledge like, oh, why does your character avatar look so different? The big thing is the gimmick. I think the second one, the reason that one works is because they do the body swap, and they also implement, like, you have characters performing as known character actors as well. So like you have The Rock pretending to be Danny Glover, you have Kevin Hart pretending to be Danny DeVito, you have a horse pretending to be Danny DeVito. That you have these different things going on that adds to the intrigue of the performances that are happening, but you don't really have a lot of stuff that's intriguing to the stakes of what's happening. Yeah. So I really am more interested in what the hook of the movie is. I haven't seen any of those new Jumanjis in theaters. I'm pretty sure that streak's going to continue, and I'll watch it whenever it hits whatever on streaming. But the main crux of those new ones, Rice Darby is the only reason I would even try to go see those movies. Is
so good.
Anything he's in, he's just fantastic. So he was in the second episode of Strange New Worlds this season. So that's reason enough to watch season 3 of Strange New Worlds. But the cast of those movies, even in 2017 when that first one hit, I was already well over them. Those movies are not geared towards me. So they don't care, and I don't care that The Rock, Kevin Hart, Jack Black are in this movie. Karen Gillan, I am very interested in seeing. She's great to look at, and she's a wonderful actress. Like, do not discredit Karen Gillan as anything but a wonderful actress just because she's pretty.
She is pretty.
I'm not going to say Jumanji 1995 is a bad movie. It's not.
No.
It's just, it's different than what I remember. And I mean, that's part of what Nostalgiathon is kind of all about, is we're revisiting things that we have not seen in a long time. Like, part of the reason why we ditched Toy Story is, yes, 100,000 other podcasts are going to be talking about it this year, but also it's Toy Story. We see it all the time, whether it's on TV or it's on streaming, it's on in the background somewhere. We've seen it 100 times. Whereas Jumanji, Sense and Sensibility, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, Batman Forever, those are movies that we maybe watch once a decade, if even that. So I'm really happy that we're doing this, and I will probably make it a regular thing around this time of the year, end of summer, early fall. That's when the slow season kind of hits for the movie theaters, and we'll just make it a regular 2-month thing every year.
Oh my God. Next week we're doing Judge Dredd.
I was going to say, should we tease next week so people can watch?
Oh my God. I legit haven't seen that movie since it came out.
I don't think I've seen it since like maybe 2000. I know I had it on VHS, but I have not watched that movie in a very long time.
Who's in this movie?
I know Rob Schneider, Stallone.
I legit only remember Stallone, probably because like TNT, TBS, something, it's like it would air it. And of course they cut to him going with the gun pointed down the camera going, I am the law. And Rob Schneider's like, okie dokie, guy. Oh man, Josh. Oh, this is going to be a trip. I can't wait. Like I saw that as a kid, not in theaters. I saw it probably on TV. Once,
I saw it in
maybe.
theaters. My dad wanted to go see that one. I saw that in theaters, and I'm pretty sure my dad was like, what the fuck is this?
But I saw the Carl Urban Dredd in theaters during the height of the 3D craze of what, 2010, 2011, something like that. It was right after.
Yeah, it would have been 2008 to 2014, 2015.
Yeah, I saw that, which was really good. I had no interest in going back. Like I've seen that maybe 2 more times because, it's not, I mean, it's good, but it's not like I need to revisit it. But you're making me, oh my gosh. Oh, this is going to be exciting. I am thrilled.
I think this one was your suggestion. I don't know that I would have been like, yeah, Judge Dredd, let's do it.
Don't blame this shit on me.
I'm going to blame you. I legitimately cannot remember how we came about this list other than you wanted Sense and Sensibility. Maybe I did come up with a list.
You decided to punish me. You're like, if we're doing Sense and Sensibility, we're doing Dredd. We're both going to suffer here.
It's that Venn diagram of movie, comic book, meet in the middle. And it's 1995 comic book movie, so it's nothing like the source material.
Oh, thank God. We don't have, it's not streaming anywhere, so we don't have to rent it. It's on YouTube.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and if you want to watch Jumanji, it's free on YouTube. You just got to sit through ads if you don't have premium. Other than that, and speaking of like things on YouTube, the shortly lived Disney Plus movie Crater is on there as well, which I'm stunned that Disney didn't just bury it, even though it's not a bad movie. I'm just shocked that, yeah, I know this is the world we asked for. We're like, listen, let us just buy individual channels. We don't need this cable package where, we can get like the basic, or we can get like the live channels for like $3 a month. And we'll like do a basic package with some stuff for $25 and then $500 for 900 channels we don't watch. I get we paid for that, that we complained about it. And now it exists here as streaming. But dear Lord, this is absurd that if it's a Disney product, we have to go to YouTube or we have to go to Sail the High Seas or something like that. Listen, it's a simple product. Disney, you put it out, you keep it on a server somewhere in a dusty corner for the next 100 years so we can watch it. Okay. It's a simple thing. Like the amount, like I love Jurassic Park. It is a comfort movie for me, but to have it where sometimes it's on NBC, Peacock, and which is a universal thing. Yes. Universal. Or sometimes it's on HBO Max. It should be on the Comcast service because it's a Comcast property. Or sometimes it's on Prime. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. It's no different than when it was channel surfing. Like, oh, TBS bought the syndication to the Jurassic Park for the next 6 months. Oh, now it's on Sci-Fi. Now it's on USA Network, which I believe USA is a Peacock property as well. Comcast, I don't know. It makes no fucking sense. And capitalism, baby. Let's keep it rolling. There's one other thing. Speaking of these big corporations, there was news that maybe you can make sense of this for me. Paramount was recently merged with Skydance. Now, Paramount Skydance is working on putting a package together to try and buy Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers and Discovery recently split. And so now Skydance Paramount is trying to buy Warner Brothers. If and when this goes to antitrust monopoly court, which it inevitably will for oversight and review, it'll get approved because these people have already made their deal. And they're going to buy CNN and continue to turn that more into the pro administration channel that it already has been. They're just going to make it more so. And then they're going to just continue to do other things. Paramount can't even get fucking Hasbro to make good shit with Power Rangers, Transformers, Dungeons and Dragons. They're just like, oh, Barbie succeeded. Let's make a Battleship movie. All that political stuff aside, how is this possible that this company that just merged for billions of dollars is now able to go, we're going to try and buy this company as well?
So from what I understand about it, the primary owners of Paramount have wanted to sell it off for a damn long time. And they went through several offers with multiple people petitioning to who's going to buy what before finally settling on some deal where, basically Skydance has bought most of Paramount, or enough to basically own it, the controlling stake, whatever. That finally went through. Discovery Warner Brothers is so weird because back in the day, it was AOL Warner Brothers.
It was Time Warner, yeah.
Yeah, Time Warner, and then they bought AOL. And then eventually they divested from that and sold it off. And it was considered a massive failure because AOL at that time was at the peak of its had 40 million subscribers in the US, which was worth $100 and something billion, which was absurd. And then all that crap. Then Warner Brothers Discovery merged, which is how we went from HBO to HBO Max to Max. And now it's back to HBO Max. But now they're divesting themselves.
After the split of Warner and Discovery, because they went back to being two individual companies, because David Zaslav is trying to sell off the parts that he scrapped of Warner Brothers.
What they're jettisoning off by splitting off again is that basically all the cable channels, all the Discovery channels, not National Geographic, but Life and all them are being shutted off to one company. And Warner Brothers HBO, basically, we'll just say it's HBO, is maintaining all of the other crap. All right.
And that includes Harry Potter and DC as well.
Harry Potter, DC, all the IP, basically. I think they own Jaws and all that crap, right? The intellectual properties. They're owning that while the cable channels get spun off to one thing.
I think Jaws is Universal, actually.
Is it? Okay.
I think so.
Basically, Matrix. There you go. I know Matrix is for sure Warner Brothers, but basically the movie IPs and TV show IPs are going to be Discovery. Are going to be HBO Max. The cable channels are going to be Discovery. All the Discovery brands. Now, Skydance, Paramount, the owner of that has a crap ton of money, and so what is they want to do there? Because the debt and baggage is now in the cable channels of Discovery, you have Paramount as this slim product, which is IPs and Paramount Plus. That is ripe for acquisition. However, the last time something like this happened is when Disney bought Fox for $70-something billion. And basically everyone considers that happened, 8 years ago? Everyone considers that a massive
2015,
failure.
2017, yeah.
They haven't got their money back for Lucasfilm. Even if you do, when they bought Lucasfilm for $7 or $8 billion or something like that, they still haven't turned a profit on that. They have turned a profit on MCU. MCU did very well, but been struggling the last 4 years. But the Fox acquisition, other than Avatar, is considered pretty much a failure. They have a bunch of IPs that they're really not doing a whole lot with because they just have they have the Predator stuff, which, yeah, they had one streaming movie and another coming out soon, but that's not going to make them $70 billion. They have all this legacy IP, and they have all this content that they've shoved onto Hulu and Disney, but they haven't made their money back yet. So now they're looking at, I forget who owns Skydance, but they're looking at like, oh yeah, we can buy Warner Brothers and we get this big stock of IP, this big catalog we can then shove into Paramount or shove Paramount into that. But who's going to run it? How many movies are you going to be able to release a year? Is the theatrical product even viable anymore? It's been stagnant since 2019. And it's been down since 2019. And the last 2 years has basically been stagnant. So it really is just a continued effort of just gobbling up IP. And what are they going to do? Just sit on it? Probably. I mean, hell, the best product on Hulu is actually Family Guy. Family Guy is like the most watched thing on Hulu, which is why they've just greenlit like 3 more years of it. Simpsons is still like the most watched thing on Disney Plus. That like they have like you can watch any episode on demand, and they have like 2 Simpsons channels that play them in order. That's not going to get you $70-something billion. So it's going to be interesting. People, I've read a few articles about the early reviews of it, not the early reviews, but early speculation, and they're like, so yeah, you're going to end up spending maybe like $100 billion to buy Warner Brothers, which is basically you're buying HBO. And how are you getting your money back? It's
Harry Potter TV series,
which was already greenlit, and they've already spent the money on that. So
for the first season.
Oh no, they've basically locked up all the child actors and adult actors for 10 years. They got permission from the UK government to build a temporary school that will last 10 years, that will at any point have between 100 to 600 students in it at any point in time, depending on what scenes they're filming. Like, yeah, they are basically making a small town to film these books just straight.
I was curious how they were going to be doing that because, yeah, for a TV series, you're assuming that's a 3 to 5 month shoot at minimum plus post-production. So if you're sticking to the usual model that most prestige TV shows have been doing, where you have season, year break, start filming, and then release 2 years after the previous season ended, these kids are going to be 45 by the time they get to the 7th season. So if they're just going to be filming these more or less for the next 7 years, plus whatever post-production, I'm not advocating for the show. I at least applaud the forethought of, we don't want these kids aging out of the roles.
Yeah. From what I've been able to read up on it, and because they have started filming, it looks like they're basically just going to film every book just straight, like as quickly as possible. Well, not as basically over the next 8 to 9 years, they're just going to film, just go, not take any breaks. Then probably give them like a fall break or something like that. But they're like, okay, cool. We're filming for like 9 months for book 1, take a few months off, and now we're filming book 2, and now we're filming book 3, and we're just going. They have it all mapped out. It's going to take them 10 years, which they still haven't said whether that's basically one season a book. I personally believe it's going to be one season for the books 1 through 4, and then books 5, 6, and 7 will be 2 seasons each. Because the first season,
I could see them expanding that 4 season or book 4 into 2 seasons as well.
Yeah,
but that's not one that can really be split in a more natural way.
Yeah. I think they've said that the first season is already like 8 episodes. So you're talking 8-hour-long episodes. Yeah. And the way they film in the UK basically takes them a month to film 1 episode kind of thing. So yeah, these kids are going to be busy for the next 10 years.
Hopefully their parents and agents sign them good contracts.
I personally hope that it doesn't go through, because I was against Disney buying Fox. It created, or before the pandemic, it created an issue where 45% of the box office was owned by one company at that point.
Yeah, and basically, if this happens, you have Disney and Fox, you have Paramount and Warner Brothers, and then you have Comcast just fucking off on the side, where the movies are just their fun shit. The main thing they get their money off of is fucking over their customers on the internet side. So like, I don't see Comcast selling off their IP anytime soon, especially when shitty movies like Jurassic Park Rebirth are still making $900 million at the box office.
Man, I should have picked that in my pool.
It was mine, baby. It's my only good winner.
That's okay. The what is it? 28 years later, the Bone Daddy is coming out soon.
Yeah. I call dibs on Mario Galaxy. That's my pick number 1 for next year.
By the way, that is a great idea. Bless Universal. They know apparently they know their audience. Naming the next movie Super Mario Galaxy. Brilliant idea.
The Super Mario Galaxy movie. It's not like, it's still like the other one was the Super Mario Brothers movie. I mean, I figured they would do Galaxy. They teased it in the first movie where Peach says something about how there's a lot of galaxies out there. And I'm like, oh, okay, they're doing galaxies next, because they basically did everything else in this first one. They're not going to do Mario 3 or like Mario 3 is just a play recreating the first game. So like, you're not doing that. They're probably not adapting Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door, because there's a lot of adult humor in that and you're changing up the animation style. So Galaxy is really the only place to go. And I think it's fun. I'm super frustrated by it because God, I hate that movie for being so horribly average and taking no risks, no swings, but also like not really embracing enough of Nintendo's history. Like my kids watch that movie probably once every couple of months, and they'll watch it on repeat for like a week, especially when they show up in the Kong country, Donkey Kong country, whatever you want to call it. When they get courted around by the one Kong that's driving them around on the cart or the plane or whatever, and they're playing Take On Me by Aha. It makes me physically angry. Why would you not play the Donkey Kong Country theme? Why is this a weird jukebox musical with a bunch of random, like, why are we James Gunning this movie with a bunch of random pop songs instead of like using the Nintendo themes that we have? What the hell?
I don't know. That is actually a frustration I have. Maybe that should be an episode, is that it has to cost more to jukebox these movies than it is to pay a composer, because like it's something like
especially when Nintendo owns the rights to these songs.
Yeah, no shit.
These musical compositions.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. Like I think Led Zeppelin is like famous for having very expensive music at like 500,000 a song or something like that. And then, you know, you have Taylor Swift, you have Take On Me, you have really popular songs that are licensed.
They even go full James Gunn and do Mr. Blue Sky.
It has to be more expensive to license that than it does to hire a composer. I'm not saying composers don't deserve their money. They deserve to be paid, and they're often the very last part brought into something, unless you're like Daft Punk with Tron Legacy, which is they were hired way ahead of time and they were filming the movie to the music that they filmed. I hope it's something very similar for Tron Ares with the 9 Inch Nails, the way they did that. So I don't know. I don't know why. I don't like jukebox movies necessarily. Just like I kind of don't like jukebox musicals either. I would much rather, like, if you're going to do a musical, at least have it focused on like Mamma Mia, on one product, versus let's just, you know, shove a bunch of pop culture into this and hope for the best.
I don't get it. But if you like Mario and you like the jukebox musicalness of the movie, you can join the Discord and let us know how wrong we are, even though in this case, I will stand my ground and let you know that you're the one that is wrong. But Alex, they could join that in our Discord. Let them know where they can go to find the Discord.
There's a link below. It's tsmackpod@gmail.com. We are here to tell you you're wrong. So please join the Discord. Say you think that Mamma Mia is actually a terrible play, and Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again is one of the best movies of all time, and we will let you know how wrong you are. kindly with emojis of mostly the middle finger.
Or in Matt's case, he will let you know that you are wrong, but in the sense of like, but this is what they were going for, or this is what it sure seems like they're going for. That's how Matt usually tends to go about things. If you don't understand what I'm referring to, listen to our Superman episode. That's basically us going, this was weird, huh? And then Matt going, well, I think this is what they were going for. This is what happened. Like I think you understood it, but you just didn't like it. And he's not wrong most of the time, but it's just frustrating when someone's like, let me be mad. Just let me be mad for a second and stop trying to justify the thing that they did.
Listen, I pay somebody $120 an hour to help me figure out what's wrong with my life. I don't need you to do it for free, Matt.
So you can join the Discord by clicking the link in our episode description. You can follow us on social media platforms, Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, at Talking Smack Pod. You can email us your thoughts, questions, reviews, concerns, requests at tsmackpod@gmail.com. Thank you to Leo Allen for our musical themes, Beppo for our original avatars, Retro L Studios for our Ricky avatar. Please like, subscribe, rate, review on your podcatcher of choice. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Alex, thank you so much for being here. What should people be watching? Oh, also, listeners, take care. I got a little carried away with the musical cues. But Alex, what should people be watching?
Watch Star Trek Stranger Worlds is good. Who loves T-Smack?
I love T-Smack. Is it true? Mm-hmm. I do. Ooh.
I can't wait for the next What You Doing, because I wasn't the biggest fan of Strange New World Season 3, and I can't wait for Matt to justify why it's great.
Dude, this season has been fucking weird.
It's been very unbalanced, but we'll talk about it on the next What You Doing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't want to ruin that.
Bye.